Get the Tifa's glorious udders out of here, Square. You don't know how to make action games. So is it worth it? A question with two meanings, even as we're regaled with what is a clip show of the last episode you may or may not have watched that ends on a cliffhanger with Batman being dipped into acidic pee or whatever. In this case, should you buy FF7 Rebirth on PC, and should you even play FF7 Rebirth? Unless you've already played Remake, Integrate, Crisis Core, that spin-off with a vampire, watched the movie sequel, played the original lately, played the original when it came out, played the original and liked it when it came out, or played the original lately because you can't remember if you played the original when it came out or liked it when it came out. All that just for Fox News to give you another literal recap of everything that happened immediately before. So what the f was even the point of the first recap? That only gets even more pointless because as it turns out, everything that happened might have happened in an alternate timeline, so who the f even cares? In this reality, everybody died. The end. Yeah, even the dog died. Also the bitch.
Hey man, feeling any better?
Not really, considering I paid money for this. I mean, I think FF7 is the third, definitely top 5 Final Fantasy games, and admittedly spent far too much time analyzing the plot through the use of the same kind of scientific study, usually admissible in the Italian Senate, so I'm well familiar with the source material, and still find the opening of the game somewhat jarring and disjointed.
Home sweet home, right?
Whereas for the layperson, this is basically spending money to get punched in the face. And then getting fondled without consent by an older fellow whom everybody assures you is totally not a predator. I mean, here I am wandering around this one hallway marveling at the painstaking detail with which the old pre-rendered map was transferred into a fully explorable 3D environment. How old was she in here again? Because I got some stuff written down that I don't know if I should say since I don't want to end up on a list somewhere. And getting teary-eyed at the nostalgic significance of this photo and the absolutely stunning sense of scale that some artists obviously work very hard on.
Business trips, which are no fun at all.
Though you do learn stuff on them.
And meanwhile, you're like, well, at least it's AAA. Where the f am I? Why are you making me vacuum the floor? When did this even happen? At least it's very AAA. And most importantly, who the hell are these people, and is this part just random padding?
On me.
That was insane.
Because I'm pretty sure in the original, they just kind of walked up some stairs and got to the reactor. Damn, this game is like a dozen A's already. We're not worthy, Square.
And once they understood what she was.
This tedious slow walking isn't helping anybody. It's barely a sprained ankle. I pity the person who bought this with no prior understanding or knowledge of what this scene stood for, because otherwise this would make no f***ing sense. I like the original take better. Neither does this.
Question. Does that make me a dumbass?
I mean, FF7 distilled down to its bare essence is essentially just this.
Here, look.
And Gwent, I guess. And also Michael Jackson as a drug dealer. Man, I'm an old fan and even I'm confused now.
The first customization is always free.
Sure, whatever. Oh wait, we just also remembered it's supposed to be a JRPG. Oh my various religious gods, this game has so many A's it's probably got its own special section in the supermarket where they sell all the good Canadian beef. The best Canadian beef. Everybody says so, buy Canadian.
On a date, kind of. What?
Bitch!
Well, now the world has opened up and so does the game after that prolonged opening, which would probably have already driven off any and all newcomers, so that's at least worth like 2 more A's and maybe even 2.3.
It's the least I could do for 2 such lovely young ladies. I do.
Master Roshi? 1 more A because it has fighting in it. The indigenous dog is like, I'm probably the less blatant racial character here. Because the black guy is a fucking idiot. A cushion? What the f kind of coddle baby are you? You can sit on that broken bench and learn splinters in your ass builds character. All her brains are in her boobs and the other one is a...
Bitch!
Thing is, we don't have that kind of money.
But all 3 of us did work as professional prostitutes, so I'm sure we can come to some kind of agreement.
Kid's a born businessman.
Oh my Shinto deities. How many A's is this now? I've completely lost count.
Don't you?
F off.
That's your first target.
All the way off. Also 1 more A. That chicken has no asshole. This is just padding again because I'm pretty sure I would have remembered a giant water snake fight. And so is this, come to think of it.
Careful down there!
fucking moron. That's like half an A, because it's not as creative as the vacuum thing before. That's another half an A because I don't know what the hell this is.
Sorry, but I gotta say it. This mission, it makes no sense. Assholes. Who's there?
Moron. Whatever they're paying the in-game cutscene director is obviously not enough. Whatever they're paying their fight engine guy is, well, at least he's enthusiastic, but honestly, why couldn't we just stick with turn-based? Whatever the f that was, I'll admit the characters are still at least very charming, violent shitheads. And then we fight an Elden Ring boss for some reason. See, what is for the OG fan the very real chance to see the imaginations of their childhood fully realized in splendid detail just doesn't hit the same way without prior experiences to draw upon, which at this point is about a doctorate's thesis worth of over-explaining every detail, and then you can somehow convince yourself this isn't the stupidest sentient creature to have ever existed in fiction and cannot possibly fathom how they're supporters of a misleading narrative that somehow she's the centerpiece to this whole story.
500,000?
Also, this kid. Okay. How old was she in here again? Because I got some stuff written down that I don't know if I should say, since I don't want Square to end up on a list somewhere because they fucking animated this scene. Also, you need to have played the Yuffie DLC for this to make sense. Seriously, go watch my other videos. F off. What the f? Okay, just have all the A's. Don't mind me, just a wanted criminal wandering around a military base without a disguise, messing with your computers for giggles. Well, I mean, I got hired along with my 2 wives, so chalk up a point for equal opportunities employment, which just proves, if anything, we need more DEI in the modern world. Okay, I laughed genuinely at this part. I mean, you can't fault the game for trying, and one has to applaud the sheer effort and production values put into something as essentially unnecessary as the corporate fascist parade minigame. I'm talking. When you'd fully expect some corner cutting to occur, if only for the parts that weren't even f***ing a part of the original vision, like this shit, and the part where they book a cruise vacation to— no, I'm not kidding. Yes, I will not partake in your blatant nonsensical padding. This can probably stay. At this point, I think we've safely established the game simply isn't worth your time or money unless you've played Remake and the Yuffie DLC for good measure, but the remake itself is probably not worth your time or money either unless at the very least you played the original. Playing the original today means to the generation not raised on this timeless chime, bored perplexion at the adulations these misshapen origami figures received for decades now. In fact, I'd say the whole point of this video was to convince all those cum stains who think Final Fantasy XII is a relic to stay the f*** off my lawn, where I heartily invite all of the rest of you to come over so we can all masturbate to our childhoods in peace. In that regard, the jury's still out on Rebirth, and indeed this whole Remake alternate history trilogy, but I'm inclined to give it the benefit of the doubt, especially since they've now paid for an all-expenses fan service trip to Hawaii. Is FF7 Rebirth even canon within the Final Fantasy universe? Well, I don't know about that yet, but the game sure feels pretty f***ing good about itself, I'll tell you what.
I tell you what.
We are pretty cool.
It's also really humble.
If you were to hire yours truly as your counselor of cool.
And horny, but in a very confusing way for old fans who might or might not remember every detail about the original. Tifa! Besides Tifa's tits. Like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know, was this part even in the original? F*** off, the best card game came out later in 1999, everybody knows that. Okay, so aside from the fact that there's a very real, surprisingly elaborate anime fan service beach episode built into the game that you can't even skip, I'd say there's no reason at this point to completely dismiss it as being non-canon no matter how much of an asshole tourist Cloud is being, along with stereotypical male prostitute Barrett as they stalk the incessant and totally unwarranted bullying of sleepwalking zombies.
Ready.
Also, with the amount of crazy shit and crazy shit minigames in Final Fantasy over the years, who's to say Rocket League wasn't actually invented in Midgar? What the living shit? What the f kind of obsession does the Japanese have with segways? At this point, it's not even eco-awareness, it's a fucking cult. Wait, what? Tifa can be an asshole too, watch this.
Leave your aching feet and ride a wheelie instead.
Also these. Motherfucker, you know what? No, I'm not letting this go. Don't go anywhere.
You might want to go first.
That's some sage advice, Mr. Pasty.
Yeah, dumbass white people. And then they fight monsters in beachwear. I don't know, I'm pretty inclined to accept this is canon at this point because the sheer stupidity of this entire chapter almost comes off as mostly endearing, especially when observed next to the po-faced seriousness the last mainline entry stubbornly held onto for the duration of its runtime. It couldn't even find any time for a smile from its own naked people on the beach. Whereas meanwhile we have here... Okay, one more look before we have to move on. Yeah, put your pants back on. We have to actually play the rest of the game now. And revisit all the landmarks of our youth now rendered in admittedly splendid detail. What the f is wrong with you now? Hurry up or I'm leaving you for the one with the big tits and working ankles. Well, at least the game isn't light on all the modern quality of life features. What the hell, zombies get free air travel and I had to walk all this way? Come to think of it, I'm honestly not even sure the zombies were in the original. Because I think I would have remembered fighting a giant robot tractor on top of a mountain.
Why waste time monster hunting?
Monster Hunter Wilds comes out in 2 weeks and yes, I am looking forward to it. So is this part now canon? But wouldn't that completely negate everything that was alluded to having happened in the original and depicted to have actually happened in that dumb shit spin-off game in addition to the implied sexual mischief Zack has gotten up to in this new timeline with his comatose girlfriend?
And I can't leave her with you. You didn't even wipe her face.
And then we just bounce back to the actual characters we care about apropos of nothing. Oh well, at least the skyboxes are pretty and almost worth the price of admission alone. This game is the most AAA game to have ever AAA'd. She must have crushed her tailbone doing that. Oh man, she must have brain damage from headbutting all those sturdy crates.
We have to help them.
No, we don't go after Sephiroth. Stop patting the game out. You know, it is getting quite hard to figure out how seriously we're supposed to be taking this game, especially when it has the tendency to go literally off the rails like during this impromptu roller coaster ride that it's currently making me play through, which is then followed up by an admittedly cute joke that nonetheless only serves to further stretch out what passes for the main plot in Rebirth.
That is...
Oh man, black guy literally lives in the slums with other black people. I forgot this part was in the original.
That bitch.
Bitch!
And then they go to Vegas, where Cloud is still an asshole tourist. I don't even... Oh right, there was a talking cat in this game. And once again, with a sickening lurch, the game abruptly shifts gears back to the alternate reality or whatever, so you can watch yourself getting cucked. As if the gold saucer stopover wasn't abrupt and tonally inconsistent enough even back in 1997. So Vegas and Disney World where you can teach your kids the merits of compulsive gambling, got it. Also play Star Fox. And about 20 other minigames the game insists you have to try before it pushes on with the main plot. Hey Tifa, let's steal this giant plushie. Oh damn, that huge yellow chicken was such a turn on.
Shit.
Oh my Genova, where are you putting my hand? And then the game hits the brakes again to sell the dog and the robot cat into sexual slavery. Just so I can play more entirely mandatory, completely optional minigames that all culminate in earning enough cabbages so I can feed a giant mutant chicken, that then I'm forced to play a round of a really watered down version of Mario Kart. At this point, I don't even remember what a Sephiroth is anymore. Because this entire chapter is dedicated to Bear's own personal struggles against an old enemy, guilty of, I'm not kidding here, killing 2 Shinra soldiers. The same idiots I've been slaughtering by the dozens for dozens of hours now, that's somehow worth fighting a frog CEO and an elaborate car chase boss fight over, which all seems to be in serving of leasing you a buggy in order to get to the next portion of the actual story.
Hooray.
off. Oh shit, some guys with sticks. Who is she?
So, this Zach guy, you still like him?
I mean, I'd kind of like to make sure where we're standing before leaving junior high.
Alert! Alert! Danger!
Off. Where am I even? It's the flying turds what's making a mess of the cannon to begin with. Is this plug USB compatible? And then we fight a Resident Evil boss, followed by the other lady with the big tits. Also, we can finally be rescued by the girls making some use of the oversized mushrooms I didn't care enough about to listen to in the descriptions earlier. Also, we get a hook shot because FF7 Rebirth might as well just be every game ever made, right? And after we beat the sexy CEO, Cloud apparently goes nuts and Tifa has to bring him back to his senses with her tits again. Would you believe this part is actually the closest we've gotten to finding out whether or not this game is canon up until now? No, I'm not going to show you. Instead, let's get reintroduced to some old friends along with implied racism, which is the only excuse I can think of for the minority and indigenous stereotypes to be made to sit at the back of the plane like depicted here. And then to be whisked away to the absolute worst and most boring part of the story where the Mandarin teaches your dog the value of friendship. Before we go through some more trials to graduate from pet school and the dumb shit natives from Avatar tell you about a black materia that you should be looking for.
People.
Excuse me, am I intolerant too?
All this while I'm thinking as an acknowledged scholar of FF7, I'm pretty sure this alternate take should be considered canon if only it was considered enough not to burden us with all the unnecessary padding that only serves to make me want to fly away and stop giving a shit altogether.
I'll see you when I see you!
Okay, so what is the point of this at this point? Somebody tell me. Anyone? Is it piano lessons? That can't be it because as far as I know, I should be teaching the game how to play this piece. Is it? What the hell is this? Okay, so the final third of Rebirth makes it canonically the final 6 of the first disc of Final Fantasy VII, the original 1997 iteration, which then makes it the 6 out of a possible 18 parts that this remake will likely need in order to reach the ending we all of us got after a month of dedicated hard work every day after school until our parents came home.
Ask anyone around here. I'm the best there is.
Damn, at what age were you sold into professional prostitution, girl? My steadfast refusal to do my homework in the early late 90s seemed a sound decision considering, like many of you, Final Fantasy VII was my first introduction to my own puberty. But today, I honestly don't even know at this point, and really, that's what's wrong with the whole remake saga, isn't it? So you just press up, right? It's less platforming than a really awkward hallway. It's like 5 AAAs put together.
And tremble in fear when they see the wire beads coming in hot.
You shut up, man.
Why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long? What point are you trying to make by making it take so long? Is it the admittedly stellar production values? Does it just cost that much more time and effort to render Tifa's tits, not pictured, in the 2020s that we can, charitably speaking, look forward to finishing the remake trilogy? Yeah, right, sure it is, because there's still 2/3 of the game left to go before the inevitable attempted and failure to annex Canada.
A message from the government of Canada.
Hojo.
Ray or Mojo.
I can jump 80 feet in the air in a fight with a cactus, but I have to use a f***ing Muppet for this just to get on an elevator. That's a lot of A's. Oh my Buddha, how long does this go on for? The living fuck? Why can't I just climb over? This is optional but unskippable? Well, then it's not optional anymore, is it? Yeah, I looked up the code on a walkthrough. I'm not jumping through any more hoops. So I do appreciate spotlighting the different characters because usually the ones not in your immediate party just get benched for the whole game, but I could have done without the crappy minigames. Oh my Jehovah, I forgot this moron was even in the game. What am I? He's hallucinating too? F*** off, that's my gimmick. F*** you, you emo prick. So he's not coming with us then? F*** off.
I don't know you!
This is why you don't fire everybody at the FAA. Oh look, it's a ship now. Look out, it's a black guy. Okay, you know what? Let's just go back to Vegas.
Will you be my champions and go to war against Don Corneo?
I'll do it.
You violent bitch.
Bitch!
They say curiosity killed the cat.
No, Zach, why am I still playing this game? I thought part of it was the intrigue of seeing a completely different alternate take on the canon. Once the teaser at the end of the first part of the remake of the first third of the actual game showed you survived your narrow brush with being John Marston out of existence. But now that I've finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I'm honestly flabbergasted at how little that entire plotline ever comes up. You, Zach, were barely in this game at all. No, really. It came all the way back from, at this point, almost 3 decades of certain death, only to wipe the asses of your comatose girlfriend and boyfriend. Then briefly befriend one of the nobodies nobody cared about, tried to learn how to drive a motorcycle, and then it gets confusing. Oh shit, I must have f***ed up. I was supposed to go on a date with the hot one. So the concert is VR? Why are we all here then? What the f***? You idiots have no taste. Now it wants me to play Dragon Quest for some reason.
With the cat.
Oh man, black guy is the evil boss. Why even bother, Japan? Bored.
And let the world know your heart.
I honestly should pick the dog at this point, but some still consider bestiality a taboo. Sorry dude, I think we should just be friends. What the hell? Whatever money they spent on this entire part probably could have paid for another Avowed, honestly.
What an asshole.
Okay, now it's just getting silly. She brought them back to life with singing. What the f*** are you smoking, game? A career in theater which was never even hitherto established as being part of the bitch's aspirations. So honestly, I'm more confused than anything at what just happened. On top of everything, the funny date you can only get by f***ing up the friendship meters so much that nobody attractive wants to hang out with you isn't even that funny.
Open the doors! Let me off!
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Let's just go back to the actual plot. Hey, so while I'm participating in sanctioned MMA death matches, can anybody tell me what was the point of that one Ubisoft employee in the game who just wants me to catalog icons on a map and climb towers? That little shit wasn't even in the original and had no reason to be in the remake, because whatever his interest in cartography has nothing to do with the multiversal plot of why the hell am I still playing this game. Hold on, gotta kill a pimp.
Be the first lucky link.
I mean, honestly, where can I tip the cutscene fight coordinator? Because he deserves an extra Canadian dollar for this awesomeness. Rufus was the Cody Rose of his era with all that pyro. Now what am I doing? Huh? So the Cetra were Minecraft people.
Aye aye!
So anyways, about Zack, as far as I can tell, he dies in about 20 more alternate timelines, then gets roped into a cameo fight with your amnesiac alter ego for all of something like 3 minutes, that I'm 600% sure was only included to be put into trailers and other promotional material, then f*** off to what looks like purgatory, while shilling the sequel to the audience in order to find out just what the f***ing hell the last hour of gameplay was drunkenly shouting about. Yeah, I'm skipping ahead. All of that will come up just as soon as... Why are we... F*** you, game. So, was this what the previous dancing was leading up to? I've officially run out of A's to give this game. I've seen cooler.
I say we put this big asshole to work.
I too agree with the slavery of sentient beings. Oh, now we get to work with these jerks. Well, that didn't last long.
Humans.
Is this the substitute outcome of this timeline? Because you know he just has to stab somebody. No more flashbacks. We're almost done. No. F*** off. Get out of here.
What if...
Don't f***ing care. Is the timeline being put to rights so we can actually have the actual remake we're supposedly sold? Okay, so now we can fight the final boss and no, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you know what? I thought the whole point of the multiversal plot of the re-sequel make irresponsibly budgeted fanfiction hinged on the possibility of saving this ditzy bitch, who is a self-admitted moron.
Does that make me a dumbass?
And racist.
Am I intolerant too?
But even that's completely bungled when the best you can do is some weird whiplash attempt to placate both the purists and the new fans who don't even know who the f this bitch is, because their parents were not of legal age to consummate a marriage when she first ate a Masamune through the spine is to make her a ghost. Yes, I am skipping ahead again.
Ta-da!
Oh my Genova, the padding.
The reunion.
Yes, I know that's the name of the third game. How does this one end? Tell me. Okay, what the...
Sephiroth!
Hey, remember when I said how this team up was only made up for the purpose of being put into the trailers to lure in suckers?
Soldier! We're not done here!
That's just the f***ed up looking thing from Metaphor ReFantazio.
Let's end.
No, I want the one with the big tits. the ghost that only Cloud can see. So he's hallucinating even more, and are we gonna find out at the end of the third and final game that this really was a fever dream all along when he wakes up in the ruined church in the lap of the aforementioned idiot bigot, having essentially dreamed the entire next 30 years of human civilization progress. Well, that would honestly be a tick in the plus column given how I would rather wake up tomorrow morning to find Hong Kong is being returned to China and I can go watch Face Off for the first time in theaters instead of the absolute dung show global geopolitics has become. Just give up, this remake is shit. So you like wastelands and cowboys and alternative history, eh? Well, it just so happens I also write books. Genuine novels with plot and characters, and this one is available now on Amazon about an alternate World War II Pacific theater that is like Firefly mixed with Inglourious Basterds.
See how feed us into your Nazi boss.
And I also have a Patreon now where if you subscribe, you get DRM free versions of the same books as soon as they come out. Why? Because I like money. Also because I'm posting entertainment opinions on YouTube, so frankly, I should have done this years ago because you know I'm completely without capability for shame.